So the next session is on the panel discussion on the topic is chartering the course of equitable innovation across the industries. I invite our moderator, Sheela. She's the officer at Straight Street Global Advisor. And Santosh. He's been associated with IPL for a very long time. He don't need introduction, but people who don't know, Santosh is Vice President and Head of Products for TransUnion CIBIL Limited. Santosh is an enterprise product marketing and technology leader with more than 18 years of experience in cutting edge technologies like in BFSI, telecom, and MarTech domains. Thank you, Santosh. And Rabindra. Rabindra is a chief engineering in strategic projects in Tata Technologies. With 32 years of experience at Tata Motors and Tata Technologies, Rabindra leads engineering service globally, focusing on digital technologies with Industry 4.0 solutions for 80 plus customers. He specializes in creating industry business solutions for products and manufacturing transformation across sectors like automotive, aerospace, and FMCG. Next is Arijit Mitra. Arijit Mitra is the Director of Product Management of AI in Pega Systems. Arijit is an experienced product leader with 18 years of experience. He successfully exited his AI startup to Pega Systems, who is the premium enterprise workflow automation company in the world. Post-acquisition, he heads a product roadmap for AI and generative AI in Pega. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today we embark on this crucial conversation at the intersection of innovation and equity. Our panel discussion today, charting the course for equitable innovation in industry, brings diverse perspectives from seasoned product leaders and accomplished product managers. As we navigate into the evolving landscape of industry innovation, let us unravel the complexities and challenges which are tied to fostering equitable innovation practices. Our panel here bring a wealth of expertise, and together we all can navigate through the challenges and opportunities leading to fostering more equitable innovation landscape. Welcome Santosh, Arijit, and Rabindra to the panel.
Thank you.
As we embark on this journey, let us first understand the landscape and dwell into the foundational understanding of what is equity in this innovation space. So, Santosh, the first, I would like to go with you first. So, equitable innovation is something companies and industries want to pursue, at least they want to pursue. So, do you think the current industry practices create an environment of conducive environment to achieve this goal?
All right. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for having me here. I'm pleased to be on the panel with esteemed peers here. You guys are doing a great job, PLF especially, and this is my first presence in PLF. I've been hearing quite a lot of good things about PLF for the last 3-4 years now. Coming to your question, Sheela. So first, let me define what is equitable innovation. What I see as equitable innovation first. Right? Be it anything new that you're developing, be it products, services, or any sort of process change that you're trying to bring in, or be it enhancing a product or some sort of service transformation or process transformation that you're trying to do. Right? When you get into either the new or the enhanced piece, right? Whatever future state that you're trying to move, right? When you move from current state to the future state, the benefits that it will ensure to the stakeholders, right? Need not just be monetary or some sort of cost saving sort of benefits, but it has to cause some sort of social impact, right? That's how I define it as equitable innovation. Not everything is measured by just P&L, right? It has to cause a lot more, greater benefits to the stakeholders, not just your customers, but stakeholders per se. You're looking at your partners, your vendor systems, your the entire set of stakeholders in the supply chain that you're looking at. Now, from a industry practice perspective, I see I'll talk from more from India perspective. There's a lot of digital India push, right? I think in the previous panel also somebody mentioned about the digital public infrastructure, right? This has moved the way people start. I mean, the entire financial inclusion piece has actually moved several notches up, right? I mean, if you look at India's stack, starting from your identity layer, which is what Aadhaar has powered, and then you look at your UPI system, right? That's we are much ahead compared to the Western economies when we're looking at the payment systems. Right now, UPI is kind of opened up doors in other parts of the world also. Plus the entire account aggregator system, right, where you don't have to go to multiple banks or check your, let's say, insurance portfolio different thing, right? There are account aggregators who can power this journey, right? So this India's stack, basically the digital public infrastructure, as we call it, has kind of powered the entire financial inclusion piece, and that's the Equitable innovation as an example I can quote. Second, very successful example I can talk about is ONDC, right? Open Network for Digital Commerce. Now, it has kind of democratized the entire digital commerce, which was kind of prerogative for only the heavyweights, right? Although ONDC is still evolving, but at least from the mobility space, it has already gained enough momentum. If you just look at some sort of, I'm very closely following ONDC because we're also trying to build something in the ONDC space. December data, if I kind of call out, there are about 5.5 million transactions that have happened in ONDC, right? That's really big, and we're looking at almost 2x, 3x this year, the number of transactions that are going through that. So that's another classic example of how innovation has happened, which is causing a greater benefit to the societies. Right now, MSMEs, micro small medium enterprises, which were not even a known name, right? Now they will open up doors, and a lot of business opportunities that come up because of ONDC for them. Now, shift towards how corporates have started looking at it, right? I'll be very frank. I think still a lot of things have to change for corporates. Although we say equitable innovation, we have inclusivity, right? All these are still boardroom discussions for me, right? Although the corporate world still they thrive on profitability, they thrive on how we can bring more shareholder value rather than the stakeholder value, right? Once the shift is going to happen with all that government push that is happening, I think that's where the real taste of equitable innovation can be seen.
Okay, thank you, Santosh. I believe, as you said, this equitable innovation in industry, the main motto is to have technical advancements and technological advancements accessible to all. So, Rabindra, as you know, most of us here are from IT and technology background, and you come from a manufacturing background. So, what does equitable innovation mean to you? And can you share us an example of the latest innovation, in your line of business?
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I think Santosh has said the context, the meaning and definition of equitable innovation. As you know, our company, we say that engineering a better world. So I'll just talk about both the aspects of engineering as well as the IT. When I will talk about engineering, I will talk about the typically product development for the new or existing product, starting from the concept to the design and manufacturing. There are three elements which I wanted to talk about. One is that anyone working in any sector or any domain in design or manufacturing, they need to know about their domain. Domain is very, very always important. If you know the domain, then you start how I can bring the technology into that space to innovate more and more. So technology is very, very playing important role. In fact, in my 32 years of the career, I have worked for the more than 200 commercial vehicle product development, more than 200 commercial vehicle for the Tata Motors and our customers. And I physically set up the tail plant for the Tata Motors and others, and the full of the digital technology we have used. So if I take it 3 decades back, we're all working for the drafting board. Now we are on the digital board. And when we are working with the drafting board, we used to use the drafting to design the product. At that time, we are having all the PDM, the product data management. Means you have got the product and you have the bill of material and just manage the data with some sort of custom application at that point of time. But now we are talking about the product life cycle management. Means if you design a product, entire life cycle of the state you need to manage. So here, the important aspect is you must have heard about that industrial metaverse. Have you heard about the industrial metaverse? Generally, we talk about the metaverse for the IT kind of thing. And industrial metaverse is the kind of we use the word called digital twin, or we call the virtual twin. Both are the same, or we call also the digitalization. But when you design the product, you need to use the digital engineering technology that for the designing the product and that innovate the product. Use the digital technology. There are digital technology which can innovate your product faster time to market. Earlier those, if you remember, making a car, since I come with automotive background all throughout 32 years, I work for the aerospace also, but all the space you talk about, launching a product in the car, that used to take more than 3 years, even 4 years kind of thing. Now we are bringing the product in the 9 months or 12 months of the time, product or the model, the variant. How that is make this enable? Because we are using the digital technology is different than the IT. Like say for example, taking the safe now that Dassault is there, or PT is there, or Siemens there, alter the whole chunk of that. So we use this product technology in the digital space. We call that digital product development. And we have got that will not go for any physical until unless you invert the product, freeze the product in digital space. Digitally design the product, digitally innovate the project, digitally you do the iteration, freeze the project, then come the digitally validate. But design where the failure will happen, analysis, not all such things that. Then we do the digital manufacturing. If you need to manufacture the product, how digital manufacturing tool to be used to manufacture the product. So entire thing we do in the digital environment, and there is the life cycle stage is there where we switch on the flag, then it will go for the physical kind of thing. So this entire ecosystem is in place where we bring the digital twin before going for the physical. This is what we have evolved, and we are very highly placed on that, and we are very close to what we digitally design and digitally validate or really transfer is close to the 80 and 90%. Then another layer of your industry 4.0, the data or AI comes into, I'll talk later. But my advice that achieve is that my experience is that, but still many MSME or supplier of the OEM is still long ways to go. What is to be done, which we follow in our company and the Tata Motors, that see, try and then adopt. See is the type that still awareness of the technology is very, very poor, right? We talk about the MSC, which contribute the larger part of the GDP, right? So need to see how cases study, see the presentation, do the due diligence, which technology will benefit them, bring the digital data. If they decide that, then to try out the POC, try means POC, adopt any technology which is relevant to the business of there. Do the proof of concept. One it is that, then you go to the adopt and scale up. So this is a framework is to follow, and we follow for our customer, more than 200 customers worldwide. This methodology that helps us. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabindra. I hope, from what you said, I could understand this equitable innovation in your, line of business helps in optimizing, the production and quality control, and also minimizing the resources, be it, human resources or physical resources, in developing a particular product. Thank you. And next question is for Arijit. So this is a generic statement which we have come across. So can AI truly be objective? After all, it's created by inherently biased humans, and are we chasing it impossible standard?
Yeah. First of all, thanks for having me in the forum. It's great to see such a lovely audience. I don't think AI can be objective, right? So if you look at from where the history of AI started, AI is all based about the training data, right? So we create the models based on the training that we provide. And the training data is created by humans, right? And we have seen scenarios. So the large language models are relatively new, but let's go back a few years down the line where we had our predictive models or natural language models. And there we would get these training data from customer feedback, from real-time interactions that are going on in some software or tool. right? And we have seen scenarios where, let's say, for example, Amazon had automatic resume analysis and hiring system, right? And since all the training data that they had for the last 10 years was more from the male gender, it started discriminating against women, right? It started discriminating against that gender and to remove it out of the equation. So we have seen similar stuff for facial recognition where it identifies, especially in the West, faces that are more Caucasian in nature, much better than faces that are, our faces basically from the Eastern or from the Asian side. So AI inherently cannot be objective. However, there are ways that we can sort of govern AI, right? And especially in the finance sector, especially in the ad tech sector, you really don't want to show a credit card ad to a very specific segment of a community, or you don't want to give a loan only to a very specific type of the population, right? So we basically go ahead and analyze for, is there any bias going on with, let's say, gender, right? Or is there any bias going on with, let's say, age, right? And once we go ahead and do those analysis, we try to sort of take the same data, just change the gender from male to female, right? Or change the age from, let's say, 20 to 30 to, let's say, 50 to 60, right? And then try to analyze these data and see if the bias is there. And then from that bias, we can sort of put in more governance on top of the AI. So we have been trying to do that with the older set of models, but here comes the LLMs. And it's been a sea change, right? Because these models, I don't think the creators of these models understand what these models are doing, right? They're deeper and deeper and deeper networks in these models, right? So it is a very big problem to actually detect and understand bias in these models because they are almost reaching the level of consciousness that we are having right now, right? But there are approaches being thought of. There is legislation being thought of across the world. US is leading the charge on that. And the legislations are essentially talking about how we can prevent bias on these models, how we can continuously give feedback through techniques like reinforcement learning, which is a technical term, but how we can take those feedbacks and continuously make these models more and more ethical, right? But I don't think anybody has the answer right now, and anybody who's saying they have the answer would be kidding, right? It will probably a couple of years down the line while we really try to understand and make these models a bit more transparent.
Okay, thank you, Arijit. I believe like innovation often faces obstacles also, and most of the time it can some can disproportionately affect different groups. So it's very critical to identify and overcome these barriers to achieve which is crucial for the progress. So on this note, like I have another question for you, follow up. So the pursuit of inclusivity compromises, they say, like it compromises competitiveness. Do you agree with this statement, or is it just a age old notion which needs a overhaul?
So I think we should pursue inclusivity. So my perspective probably might be a bit unique because I come from both the startup world and the corporate world, right? And in the startup world, where we were actually running to meet the next targets, meet the next financing, I think inclusivity was completely out of the window, right? It's a capitalist society at the end of the day. But in more corporates, in larger corporates, I think we sort of are taking inclusivity and diversity seriously. There are a couple of aspects to it. Is inclusivity and diversity important? I think absolutely, right? I mean, you get to help retain top talent. Your brand reputation actually is much, much better in this society, in this socially aware society. Your brand reputation is better. You are able to reach markets that you would not be able to reach if you're not inclusive, right? And essentially, you are going to go ahead and build a product, right, that actually takes diverse outlooks into consideration. So the product is inherently better. However, I believe in leveling the playing field, right, rather than actually making inclusivity or diversity one of the criteria or the metric that we track the organization. So if there is a situation where a segment of society is economically weaker, then let's go ahead and actually help them with the funding for their education side. Let's help working mothers, right, to actually go ahead and get help for, let's say, daycare or anything else to actually bring them back to work. However, at the end of the day, I still believe meritocracy rules. And maybe it's a very pragmatic answer, but at the end of the day, after leveling the playing field, meritocracy will rule. And that's because we are competing with each other at the end of the day. So diversity helps, but it should not be the only metric that we should practice. What my opinion is.
Okay. Just as a follow up, I have a question for Rabindra. So, the principles of equitable innovation often locks, horns with competitiveness, and also the business interest. Have you come across this kind of situation in your line of business, and how have you overcome, that challenge? Are there any tips, to resolve this conflict?
It comes, but we have got a very strong process and systems in place, right? Our Tata ethical value system, code of control is so strong, and that awareness always happen to really protect that. And we have got a lot of training happens, a lot of the regional and the global level, the team is there, group is there who works on that. And to just give an example to really address the theme of this discussion, I bring a topic, an example with Tata Motors. We did a project on equitable innovations and how the team works together. You maybe know that we used to do the truck racing also in commercial vehicle, right? So we did that for the 4 years, and and then we developed innovated a product. I'm talking about 2014, 15, 16, 17. We developed a product on commercial vehicle which set of mix of the designer, or mix of the shop people, mix of the girls employee, the boys employee, and senior leadership, etc. And we built the product with a lot of innovations which currently we see in the vehicle is coming up. So we built the product, and that build the product. So for example, some innovation happens is that we can remotely control the vehicle of the commercial vehicle. We can control the vehicle where the sensors has put into the suspension. When you take the turn, it automatically adjusts the vehicle. A lot of innovation we built and build this product in a very short part of time, where the end to end, the designer or the manufacturer, the supplier and partners, all ecosystem we build this product. And the most important feature was there, we could achieve 160 kilometer per hour in 9.2 seconds. And we run this vehicle in Buddha Circuit, Greater Noida, and where our Indian driver also got to expose to that how the vehicle is to be driven, because we got vehicle from drivers from the United States. So this is the real example of that how we collectively work together, how collectively we promote that innovation, and there is no kind of any kind of disparity that brings together. So this is a real example we demonstrate, and we demonstrate each and every project that happens in the organization.
Thank you, Rabindra. So I believe leaders play an important role in having innovative culture in their organizations. Would like to understand your perspective, the role of leadership in having fostering inclusivity and driving innovative culture within your organization. So as a product leader, this question is for Santosh. So what advice would you give, I believe you are a mentor for many of the startups, so what advice would you give to the startups and smaller companies looking to prioritize equitable innovation at the outset?
All right, so we are also a mid-sized company, work for TransUnion CIBIL. So for organizations from startups to mid-sized companies, I think you have to play on your strength, right? You're very nimble, you are more technology-driven, right? You're not so much process-driven, but more technology-driven. You want to make change happen, right? Just few years ago, if you just compare what banks were doing and what fintechs were doing, fintechs were always considered as a threat for banks, right? And then the positioning of fintechs changed, right? They started saying that we will work along with the banks, right? So now there's a lot of collaboration. You see this virtual credit cards that have come up, or this entire BNPL sort of concept, right? So your positioning has to be strong, right? I mean, my tips to startups and mid-sized companies is you will have to play along with the ecosystem. You can't be a solo player and say I'll bring in some sort of innovation that will be accepted in the industry, right? You'll have to play along with the ecosystem. Second is, in a regulated environment, industries, let's say defense, financial services, healthcare, you need to respect the regulator, right? If you jump the gun, do too much of drastic innovation, obviously you'll be cut, right? The regulator will be very, very heavy on some of those aspects. You'll have to work under the ambit of regulatory framework, the policies, especially in the AI world, right? I think we have seen many speakers talking about the AI strategy and the policies which will kind of cover. If you cut it loose, right? We build a technology and then we try to figure out what problems can it solve. It should be the other way, right? First you identify the problem, identify the use cases, then get onto the problems the solutions to look for. And last but not the least, because you have very, very limited bandwidth, both financial as well as human capital, try to protect your IP, right? You need to file patents, you need to have copyrights, trademarks at the right point of time, otherwise your ideas will get copied, right? And the amount of effort that you put in to innovate something will get lost and the ideas get destroyed, right? I think these are 3-4 tips that I would give.
Okay, thank you, Santosh. Before we open up for Q&A, we have a quick fire for all of you. So, if you had to immediately reverse one industry innovation, either because it's doing more harm than good, what innovation it would be and why? Yeah.
Maybe I'm threatened by AI. So although I'm in the field of AI, I don't feel it's an ally for all of us. It may be an ally for all of us in the room, right? But take a technology like self-driving cars, right? If it is implemented in India, how much job loss will happen, right? I mean, you can say that, hey, self-driving cars cannot work in Bangalore streets, but I think it will happen eventually, right? So there are certain situations where I think these kind of technologies like self-driving cars, and I think governments will start mandating that. I think Nitin Gadkari told that self-driving cars are not coming to India, right? So those are the kind of technologies that we really need to be aware about, because what AI is doing at the end of the day is that it's minimizing it's taking over the jobs which are more process oriented. Let's say a call center, or let's say you're taking something from Excel and then copying into PowerPoint, or even creating a presentation for that matter. And that helps the upper echelons of society where they are thinking more on the innovative side of things. But there is a lot and significant portion of the population who are looking at much more process-oriented, standardized tasks which AI will take over. So it may be an ally for a lot of us, but I'm really worried about what's going to happen 2, 3, 5 years down the line. So, but self-driving cars is the technology that I'm really scared of.
Okay. Rabindra, what are your thoughts on
Okay,
it?
now we have triggered me questions. I'll come back to you. But before that, I'll answer Sheela. One thing which we should work, and everyone is working in the entire world, and it is dashboard of the CEO. We should do away with the linear economy, and we should move on to circular economy. And that is basically linear economy. When we say that, if you take the car as an example, that for the matter of any sector, any product, we go to the mines, take the mineral, design the product, and just throw it out the scrap, right? So that's what is the linear economy. When we are taking the raw material, there is a lot of scarcity in the entire world in terms of carbon net zero, in terms of sustainability. So we need to do away with that. We need to innovate the product, each and every aspect, to move into the circular economy, which is recycle, reuse, is the kind of the concept we need to bring, which talks about circular economy, how existing material can be used. When we look at the car as a product, there are a lot of elements are there. One is the product, and second is the manufacturing processes. So how the product, existing part or component material which you are using, how you can redesign the product with the sustainable product or the recycle usable. That is what we should do about it. There is one message I want to do. Since he's touched upon the self-driving car, I've been working the last 10 years, right? So, and a lot of global customers we are doing. Why self-driving vehicle, right? Why we use the vehicle? We use the vehicle, typically if you ask someone, we say that transport from a movement from point A to point B. Please remember, the way the technology is growing, and previous speaker was talking about, it is no more from movement from one point A point to B point. It is more about that how immersive experience our automotive or mobility is going to create, right? So here, computer is on a wheel. So it's not going to eat away any job. It is creating the job like anything. We don't have the skill or manpower to really talk about that. To just give the heads up, is the computer on wheel? Lot of issues are coming in the vehicle. The HMI issue, the human machine interface on the entire thing, is no more a small screen. The entire thing has a 4-5 segment. Netflix is running, movie is running, immersive music is running, entire immersive experience is being created. Lot of ADAS, advanced driving assistance features are being built. like emergency closing effect or blindness spot detection, keeping lane track. These are all level 1, level 2, 3 are being brought into our Indian vehicle. But when you got a self-driving car, the entire AI stack is there, which is evolving, and lot of innovations are working. I work the global customer. It's a great opportunity for everyone. We provide engineering services to the global customers, right? India will take some time. It has its own challenges, which we need to work it out. Just wanted to say.
Thank you, Raman. Santosh, your thoughts on it?
I think from a fintech world, probably I'll give a perspective here. Lending has picked up quite a bit, like in the last 10 years, so that's like a wave that has picked up. Digital lending, I think we should probably give a relook at it. I'll not say a reverse at it because the world thrives on credit, but the way digital lending has evolved, while there are paisa bazaars of the world, but then there are a lot of smaller companies and unknown brands who have launched digital apps, right? The digital lending apps basically, through which you can probably avail a loan, and they charge really unscrupulous interest rates, right? They kind of eat in your data which is sitting on your mobile phone, right? And the way they chase, and a lot of suicide cases also, I think we have noticed, right? It's causing a lot more damage in the humanity from that perspective. So with DPDP coming in and a lot of regulations being forced on a lot of the smaller players in terms of who can be entitled to launch a digital lending app, right? I think we can bring in some controls, but not technically it's not a reversal, but slow it down so that it causes more benefit than any sort of damages to the humanity.